So thanks to Variety, yesterday all the talk on the internet was how the PlayStation exclusive game The Last of Us was going to be getting a live action television adaptation that will be premiering on HBO, and it is going to be headlined by the Chernobyl creator Craig Mazin, and he's not going to be alone. He's going to be joined by Neil Druckmann, who is the creator and lead storyteller on the original Last of Us, and he's also going to be he's also the story head and writer for The Last of Us Part 2. I don't believe he's the game director anymore, but I know that he's still attached to the story of The Last of Us. So he is being brought in to co-write along with Craig, and they are going to be also serving as executive producers. And they're going to be this series is going to be brought to us by Sony Pictures Television in association with PlayStation Productions. Now, if you've been with Millennium Movies for a while now, you'll remember that sometime last year I had made a video about PlayStation Productions being announced as a sister company to Sony Pictures and Sony Pictures Television. And PlayStation Productions' entire point as a movie studio, a brand new movie studio, was that they were going to be bringing live action and animated adaptations of some of their beloved properties, and it looks like The Last of Us is going to be the very first one that we're going to be getting. And right off the bat, being put on HBO means prime time. HBO means quality. So I am very much excited for this series. I think it has the potential to be one of the best video game adaptations that we have ever seen on the big screen, or in this case, the silver screen, with this being a series like The Witcher is a Netflix original series that is also based off the game. And of course, it's based off the novels, but it's also based off the popular game. But yeah, so the point of this video, though, is not to talk about so much the Last of Us series, because we already know, we've gotten some tidbits as to what's going to be going on in the Last of Us series. Neil Druckmann has gone on to say that this is going to be the story of Joel and Ellie. So this is going to be the story of the same story from The Last of Us Part 1, and they've also hinted with the possibility of additional content based on the sequel, The Last of Us Part 2, which means that in The Last of Us Part 2 video game, it feels now like there might be some flashbacks to The Last of Us Part 1 that we didn't get to see in the original game, and some of that stuff, some of those flashbacks, some of that missed content might appear in this television series, because in a TV series, you have much more ground to cover, you have much more room to expand on character development, and just you have room for all these other side quests in the middle of the overarching story. But yeah, so it looks like we're going to be getting Joel and Ellie and the story that we've already been through if you've played the Last of Us game. But the point of this video is not to talk again about the story, even though I know I've been doing that for the past 3 minutes. But no, the point of this video is to give you my hopes and dreams, if you will, my fan casting for who could possibly be playing the roles of Joel and Ellie, our lead protagonists in this series. So I'm going to give you 3 actors who I believe could possibly play the role of Joel, and 3 who could possibly play the role of Ellie. So let's go ahead and get the first 2 obvious choices out of the way right now, because it's on everybody's mind, to be honest with you. And maybe one part of it is, but that is, of course, Hugh Jackman possibly playing the role of Joel, and I have also added in Daphne Keane, who played Laura in Logan, as a possible actress who could play Ellie. Now, she has gotten a little bit older from Logan. That was 3 years ago now, or just about 3 years ago. And I think that, she's a damn good actress. She did a phenomenal job in Logan. Hugh Jackman, obviously, you don't have to say anything about him. We've seen his incredible work as Wolverine. He was pitch perfect in the movie Prisoners, which is where this photo is taken from right here. He not only looks like Joel, but he has the acting capability to put on a performance that is worthy of the character of Joel, and the story capabilities that and possibilities that the character of Joel brings, and that just sort of just that dynamic of a rugged, scruffy older man who is just fighting and clawing to just to survive and make it out there. I think that Hugh Jackman would be a perfect man for the job, but of course, Hugh Jackman would come with a price, and I think in the case of Daphne Keane, I think just the fact that if we were to get any one of these 2, I don't think we would get the other, just because the similarities would be far too close between Logan and Laura from, of course, Logan. where of course that's kind of like, the whole father daughter relationship that we get to see in that movie. So I think that is a big obstacle that they have going for them in terms of them possibly landing these roles. But this is just a fan casting, right? This is just a dream casting. So I know I'm not the only one who would love to see Hugh Jackman and Daphne Keane as Joel and Ellie in this live action adaptation. But again, this is probably the least likely of these options, but still, it's fun to dream, it's fun to just think about, and just fun to have the conversation. But moving on to my next choice for Joel is Joel Edgerton. Yes, you heard that correctly. Joel Edgerton, who has just recently been in the Netflix adaptation of King Arthur with The King. I thought he did a phenomenal job in that film. Joel Edgerton always brings his A game to every project that he commits his time to. He was really good in The Gift, which is where this photo is coming from. And I think that Joel Edgerton, and it, not just not just being like a funny coincidence that he has the same name as Joel, but I think he could kind of work for the character of Joel. I mean, if you've seen the type of roles that Joel Edgerton has played in the past, I think that he could definitely pull off the role of Joel. I maybe he might not be the first person who comes to a lot of people's minds, a lot of fans' minds, but when I heard that we were getting an actual live action, Last of Us series, I was wondering who could possibly play Joel other than the obvious choice of Hugh Jackman. I think that Joel Edgerton has a real shot to play Joel, and I think that he could really give a really cool and just unique and just interesting performance for Joel. So moving on from Joel Edgerton, though, the second choice that I want to throw out there for the role of Ellie would be McKenna Grace, who we can expect to see in the upcoming Ghostbusters movie. I think by the time that, she's a little young right now, but I think, Ellie is 13 or 14. Ellie, I believe, is 14 in the first Last of Us game. So you want to cast a younger actress. You don't want to cast somebody who's like in their late teens, right? Because if this is going to be a series that possibly goes on longer than one season, you want a younger actress who can still look like she's in her teenage years, 4 or 5 years down the road. And McKenna Grace is a very talented young actress. She was really good in the Annabelle movie. She was really good in the Haunting of Hill House Netflix series. So she has a lot of talent. She has a lot of talent. She's very young. I think that she could do a really good job with this expanded role of Ellie. And, hey, it could be a lot of fun. So I just wanted to throw that option out there. And finally, we're getting to my last two picks for who could possibly be playing Joel and Ellie. And these might feel more like long shots, but I just thought, hey, let's just throw it out there anyways. So this time we're gonna go with we're gonna stick to Ellie, and this is gonna be the actress Millie Bobby Brown, who of course a lot of you probably know from the Stranger Things series on Netflix, where she plays the role of Eleven, Jane Hopper. She's a fantastic actress. She was most recently in the last Godzilla movie. She's going to be in the upcoming Kong versus Godzilla movie as well. And I think she's a really talented actress, but I think the biggest thing going against her is probably going to be her age, because I believe she just celebrated a birthday, so she's, I believe she's 15 or 16, somewhere around there. So by the time that this series goes into production, probably sometime later this year at the earliest, she'll be starting to push 17 years old. She might start to look too old to play the role of Ellie. I think that's the only thing that she has to worry about, but she's a very talented young actress. I think that she could do a very stand-up job with playing the role of Ellie. Some of you might call me completely crazy for that, but hey, I just think the young lady is very talented. But moving on from her, and my final choice as to who could possibly be playing Joel is a favorite actor of mine, so I really wanted to include him in this list, and that is John Krasinski, who of course can rock a mean beard. I mean, look at this man. He can rock a mean beard. I mean, he was already pretty built for the role in A Quiet Place, where he was already in a post-apocalyptic world. I think that John Krasinski could absolutely nail the role of Joel. He looks a little bit younger, but again, this is The Last of Us Part 1, not The Last of Us Part 2. So, you can have a little bit of a younger actor like John Krasinski in the role of Joel. So he's really good. He did a really good performance in A Quiet Place, and I would love to see him in the role of Joel. So yeah, so these are my picks for the characters or the actors who could be possibly playing the role of Joel and Ellie. So for Joel, just want to reiterate, we have I had Hugh Jackman, Joel Edgerton, and John Krasinski, and for Ellie, I had Daphne Keane, McKenna Grace, and Millie Bobby Brown. So yeah, let me know what you guys are thinking in the comment section below. Who are some possible actors or actresses that you could see in these main protagonist roles? If I left out some actors that you find very interesting or that you think would do an even better job than my suggestions, please let me know, because I am all about The Last of Us right now. This news has me very hyped. I'm a huge PlayStation and Sony fanboy. I don't care. I don't care who knows it. I'm just gonna just flat out admit it. But actually, before I even go, I wanted to give you guys just a fun little extra casting. I would love to have the role of Bill be cast as well, and who could play Bill. I mean, you know, I always enjoyed that part of the game when you get to Bill's town, and you know he's kind of giving you a hard time, but you know that hey, you know he really means well, even though he tries to pretend that you know he's kind of being a hard ass to you. But I just found his character, there was something just really endearing about him. But I would love to see Mark Boone Jr. play the role of Bill. And that was just something that I wanted to toss to you guys. You know, hey, maybe see what you guys are thinking about that. But anyways, guys, this has been Millennium Movies. And if you want to stay up to date on all the latest things going on in the movie and TV world and PlayStation in general, well, you're already in the right place, and consider subscribing to Millennium Movies. I will see you all very soon.